Welcome back, everyone. New School Sensei. I'm your host, Lance Douglas. We've got Ken Douglas as well. We're going to be running through a whole heap of different topics over the next few weeks. Previously, we've been a little bit more philosophical. Now we're going back to our roots. It's going to be very practical and pragmatic, just the way Ken likes it. We're going to be giving you the secret sauce for coaching kids. This is all of our insights from the last 15 years of running kids classes. And we're going to start with the number one tip we give to all of our new coaches and something that I've used just recently. So the number one tip is getting to know everyone's favorite word, which is their name. Now, it seems so simple and obvious, but you'd be surprised how many times coaches will just forget this. I've just been working at a primary school. I've got 20 prep students that I have no idea who they are. And my main objective was to learn their names as quick as possible. And once you know the names and you kind of, you get a sense for those kids as well, it just makes coaching a lot easier. Isn't that right, Ken?
100%. It's definitely a kid's favorite name. If you aren't learning kids' names, you're probably missing half the job of a coach.
Yeah. And so with our newer coaches, the way we train this, we use Dave Kovar's 3x3 rule. So Ken, do you want to run through that? Because you've met Dave a couple of times. You've even trained with him. I think you said on the podcast, this guy, he might be in his 50s, or he might actually be in his 60s, but he's probably stronger than you, Ken.
He's in phenomenal nick, Dave Kovar. He's got like 10 black belts. If you mention his name in the martial arts industry, most people know him. He's an absolute legend. He's been in the game for a long time and someone that we both look up to greatly. So essentially, 3x3 rule is you have to do three things. Yeah. So you have to say the person's name, appropriate touch. So it can be high five, knuckles, all that sort of stuff, and then eye contact. And then I believe, I'm actually a bit rusty on this one. So 3x3, we're trying to do it 3 times every class.
Yep.
So that's,
and when you really look at it, Ken, yeah, like a coach like you, Ken, you would do it you'd be doing a 10x3. You'd be saying the name, appropriate contact, and eye contact. You'd be doing it 10 times.
Yeah, so it's not that difficult. You're literally just going, well done, Lance. That was an awesome kick. You look at him, give him some knuckles. Boom. Good job. That's one done. So if you can try and do that for each student 3 times in the class, you're doing a very good job.
And you have to remember, a lot of times in kids' classes, the coach might not even say their name. Like, I've been to kids' classes and, Johnny or Jimmy, they might not be acknowledged once in the class. So if you put yourself in the parents' shoes, if your child is getting acknowledged, 3 or more times during the class, that's huge.
Oh, yeah. So, Lance, there's probably a lot of coaches, a lot of people in general saying, I struggle with people's names. So what are some tips that you would give them to remember names?
A lot of people think that I'm good at remembering names. It's not true. I have a lot of secrets that I use. I'll tell you one. I don't think I've revealed this on the podcast. When I go to the gym, so I go to Apollo Gym in Spotswood here in Victoria, and whenever I meet someone new, I get their name and I get their job, and then I try to get, in conversation, something interesting about them. And I have a list of names in my phone. So it's got their name, their job, and something interesting about them. And then before I go into the gym, if I see someone that I can't remember their name, I will literally stay in the car and go through my list and get their name. So obviously, coaches, you don't have to be as pedantic as me, but that's how serious I take, remembering names.
Wow.
If we bring it more into a coaching aspect, so when you're on the mats, a couple of easy things. Hopefully, you got a roll, yeah. And just before the class, look at the roll and then just start running through the names. I'm not saying, it's not like you're trying to memorize some elements on the periodic table, your hydrogen, helium, lithium, whatever.
Jeez.
You go through the roll. Well, it's not, this ain't study. You go through the names and you try and visualize, like, what do they look like? So maybe I got John. Okay, John. Oh, yeah, he's got short brown hair. Boom. I got Jeffrey. Oh, yeah, he normally has longer hair, whatever. And just go through the list and see if you can actually picture him in your mind. The other thing is a lot of roles will actually have a picture next to it. So if you can mentally associate the name with what they look like, then you actually see what they look like. And then when you actually go onto the mat, you can see them in person and say hello and then say their name straight away. That makes it a lot easier to remember the names.
Yeah, boom.
And then
Oh, sorry, you still got more. Smashing it.
I've got a couple of
Let's go.
little tricks.
I'm ready.
The other thing is, at the start of the class, put yourself under pressure to remember the names. So again, I'll draw it back because I'm working at the primary school at the moment. We'll sit in a circle. I'll introduce myself. I'm Sensei Lance. I'll say what we're going to do. And then I'll say, okay, I'm going to test myself. I want to see if I remember your names. And I'll tell them, don't give me any clues. So I'll go one by one in the circle and try and get their name. And when you put yourself under that pressure, funny thing about pressure is a lot of times it forces you to perform. And I'm sure, Kenny, you would do something similar.
Yeah. Nah, sorry, bro. You know me, tech issues galore. I gotcha. Yeah, so essentially you've taken a few of mine already, but I've got a few more. As you know, I like to write notes while doing these potties these days. So a couple of tips that I would have. At the start of the class, what you can do is you can get all the kids to say their name. Do have to be wary though. There are some kids that don't like to say their names, or they might be, they might be anxious about talking in public. But that's something I have used in the past, and if I do know the group, I do use it, especially if you don't normally run that class. If it's the first time you've seen these kids, so that's something that I would try and do. Again, as Lance said, the roll calls. I just want to sort of say that again. It's super important. Yeah, like have the photos on the roll calls when you're planning your classes. Look at the names, look at the faces. Boom, boom, easy as that. Another little tip you can do if you have an assistant instructor, you can just ask them if they know that kid. So instead of you asking the kid their name, you can ask someone else. You can ask another student. You can ask another assistant instructor. Yeah. You can even ask their parents. All right. The main thing is you don't ask that kid what their name is. Yeah. And then, so those are essentially my main tips. I guess if you really want to coach kids, if you really want to do a good job, you will figure out how you're going to remember these names quick. If you've got one foot out the door, you don't really care that much, you'll probably go the full term and keep saying the kid's name wrong or not learning that name. Isn't that right, Lance?
I've seen it so many times. Coaches will say, I'm not good with names. And they'll even start the class, I'm not good with names. And if you have that mindset, of course you're not going to be good. So you want to kind of flip it and just keep trying. As a fail safe, I know sometimes flat out I can't remember a name. I'll ask the kids. This is a really good little trick I got from, I can't remember which one, man. It might be from Paul Velbin or someone from that type of cadre. I know it's your favorite word, Kenny. But you ask the child, how do I spell your name? They start spelling it, and then you say, oh, no, I mean your last name. That's a good little trick there.
I like that. So if you can't remember their name, you just ask them how to spell it and just go, sorry, man, I actually meant your last name. Something that I do, if I really can't remember the kids' names, I'll just ask them their name and then I'll ask them, do you know my name? And you'd be surprised. A lot of, if I don't know their name, they probably don't know my name. So I'm like, see, it's even. I forgot your name. You forgot my name. Boom, boom. So those little tips and tricks are super important. I think that 3x3 rule, yeah, Lance, if you're saying the kid's name 3 times every class, appropriate contact, fist bumps, eye contact, it should be pretty stock standard. You should be able to remember these names within a class, 2 classes. If you're not remembering the kids' names, there's something going wrong, I imagine.
Yep. And the 3x3 rule, if you look at the top communicators and the people, if you look in your life, the most influential people, they do it naturally. I'm thinking like former bosses I've had, they know your name. They're always patting you on the shoulder, like eye contact. But for whatever reason, these are skills we need to teach our coaches.
Yep.
And the good thing is, this is relatively easy. I'm not talking about teaching your coach to be, you know, an ethical coach, or you're trying to shape their values. This is purely just a practical thing. You know, just get them saying kids' name 3 times, eye contact, and appropriate physical contact. And with the appropriate physical contact, we're talking fist bumps, high five. We have a general rule. It's like you just go from shoulder down the arm. That's pretty much it. Or maybe a pat on the, you know, upper back. That's pretty much it. So these things, they seem very simple, but you'd be surprised. And if you're not doing it, this is an absolute game changer.
Definitely. Hey, if you're talking about 3x3, what happens if you're a little bit further away and you can't actually get that fist bump in? Are there any other things that you would try to do?
Yeah. So this is a good one. A lot of times I will do, you've probably done it as well, Ken. Like, you know, you look at the kid, you be doing this one, like, I'm looking at you, that type of thing. Or you might just, you know, look at a kid and go like maybe open up the roller door and it's making a lot of noise. Kid looks at you just like, so maybe you're not sharing the physical contact, but you're sharing a gesture.
It
Like
could
even
just
just
be
like
a
a
thumbs up.
point, thumbs up. Yeah, just sharing something between them, some sort of like non-verbal communication. You're really good at it, Ken. You're always like, the kids are looking, you might like, or you might like do, I've seen you with the ninjas, you're like,
Yeah, just silly
pretend you're a
stuff.
lizard, just poke your tongue out.
Yeah.
Or even I just sometimes the kids look at me, I'll be like, I give them, you know, a silly face, just something.
That's it. You got to be part
It just
coach,
shows that you're
part performer.
connecting.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that kind of wraps it up. That's our number one coaching skill. This is the thing I think about the most. If I've got a new class, I'm not thinking first my lesson plan. I'm not thinking first all the, you know, environment, the tools that I've got. I'm thinking names. I'm thinking the students. I'm thinking them as people. Yeah. So that's the number one thing. Ken, do you have anything you want to wrap this one up with?
I guess, how about nicknames, bro? Do you think that's
Boy,
important too? Or
That's a
it's,
good point.
yeah.
That's actually, I didn't think about that. It's true because we'll have different ways. You know, you might, a certain kid, you have a nickname for them. Hopefully they like the nickname. You might have just the way you say a name, like just say we got the name Jaden. Like as soon as they come in, I'm like, Jaden, how you going, buddy? It's just the way you say it. Or we'll use Dimmy. Dimmy doesn't care if we say his name. I'll be like, you know, and he's always late to the warm up. So you kind of share a bit of a joke. You're like, Dimmy, missed the warm up again, buddy. Here we go. Or maybe, you know, maybe you got a stud athlete, but for some reason, like I'll always like say for someone like Sammy, I'll go, oh, you're in trouble today, Sammy. Got the big guns in for you. You're in trouble. So that's a good point. You know, having a nickname, having a little bit of an in joke, they're all things, you know, they should come naturally, but I guess those are things that our coaches can develop. Awesome. Ken, give him the thumbs up. Yeah, he loves the pose. Let's wrap it up there, guys. So awesome podcast. We're going to keep the next few of these potties really short, sharp, practical, things you can just share straight away with your coaches. We're essentially giving away the secrets for our new school sensei model, and more specifically our kids coaching, which is from our twins martial arts school. So hopefully you guys look forward to that. We'll see you on the next one. Oos.